والسلام على خاتم النبيين أما بعد. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Dear viewers, dear listeners, I wanted to deal with this subject many years ago, but I think it's high time. Something that affects all of us, the Muslim of us, the Jew of us, the Christian of us, the atheist of us, the Hindu of us, all of us. It's called the corporation. Joel Bakan, he wrote a book called Childhood Under Siege. And before that, it was the corporation, and there's a documentary out for it. So this corporation, and he quoted, he said, they, meaning the corporation, are programmed to put their mission of creating wealth for their owners above everything else, and to view anything and everything, meaning nature, human beings, children, the planet, as opportunities to exploit for their profit. It's all about profit. Unable to feel genuine concern for others, to experience guilt or remorse when they act badly, or to feel any sense of moral obligation to obey laws and social conventions, corporations resemble human psychopaths in their essential natures. Now, he made that statement, and it's a point that is very stark, that it's all around us, it's ubiquitous, and even though that we feel everything is about corporation, your watch is from a corporation, your dress is from a corporation, at least mine is not. But most of the things that we buy and we live by are by corporations. The biggest employers are corporations like McDonald's and Burger King and Kentucky Fried Chicken and Walmart. They're just literally leeching the whole society. So what is happening for number one, nature? How is nature being destroyed? Because these people, for example, McDonald's goes out and does the most damage against the Amazon, the jungle. He does the most, they do the most damage by clear cutting and doing all of the other things. And other corporations are also doing their more, and then they come out and say, we are green and we are clean and we are wanting to give to the environment. And they have this like a psychopathic kind of a twisted mentality, somebody who is an evil criminal that's out there to harm people, but at the same time saying, look, I'm your best friend, I'm your neighbor. So they go and destroy nature, they put chemicals in there.
According to Britain's Daily Mail newspaper, citing a CNN study, chicken nuggets sold in the US branches of McDonald's contain a chemical used in the children's play item Silly Putty. Well, CNN reports that McNuggets sold to American fast food lovers contain a chemical element called dimethylpolysiloxane, an anti-foaming agent used in Silly Putty, and they also have more calories in the fat than those sold in the chain's British restaurants. And a spokeswoman for McDonald's puts the transatlantic differences down to local methods of food preparation. And CNN reports that US McNuggets also contain a petrol-based chemical called tertiary butyl hydroquinone, and British McNuggets contain neither of those chemical elements. Lisa McComb, McDonald's Global Media Relations Manager, says that dimethylpolysiloxane is used for safety reasons to prevent oil from foaming.
And look at the amount of chemicals that we're using for lawn fertilizer and putting things like, you know, the skull and bone that don't come here, because I don't want any kind of you know, those yellow flowers called weeds. Actually, they look nice, but sometimes people are so obsessed. They put chemicals, so anybody walking in there, my child might be walking, put your hand in there, you eat it, and we are becoming sick as a society because we want this kind of you know, this TV picture lawn that we're dying. And one of the statistics that in North America we spend more on lawn care than we do on social giving for the world, for the hungry, for the poor. So look what's happening to nature itself. Secondly, look what's happening to the human beings. So as Joel Bakan was saying, that, you know, look at the corporation has no concern for the human being. Like the Romans, you see, the Romans destroyed themselves first and foremost from environmental toxicity. That's what happened. Oh, if you read their history, they used to boil their wine in copper kettles lined with lead, or in lead pots. And what would happen is that it would give it longevity, it would stay longer. and it would be called a sweet poison because it was somehow, because it's grape juice is corrosive. So when they would boil it, the lead would actually go in it and give it like a sweetish taste. So what would happen there is that they poison themselves to death. They put it on their walls, they put it on their plates, they ingest it in so many ways. But the most, the scary part was when they took it with their wine and they literally destroyed themselves. So that was like the sweet poison. Now look at ourselves. We are being poisoned by electro pollution, and that's what the EMFs are everywhere. Your Wi-Fi, your cellular phone, your alarm clock right next to your bed. There's a lady who wrote a book called Zapped, and made many concerns come forward, talking about the cigarette industry, how the cigarette industry used to say, well, you know, there's no conclusive proof that it causes cancer, and this was in 1966. So, and she made a point by saying that, you know, all of this electro pollution that we have, it's odorless, you cannot see it, it's invisible, you cannot smell it. So it's all around us, and we're just like the Romans, you know, making life sweeter. So this is our sweet poison. Give me the fast, you know, email transfer, and I have it in on my hand, on my BlackBerry, and my iPod, and it's just coming and going. And any building that you go to, people are becoming sick now. They're actually having villages where people who are affected by the Wi-Fi and all of the other electrical signals, that the human being is also electrical. That's why they have the Japanese system of having these pressure points and cures for ailments, because they know that electrical signals are given like from your brains and so on. So the human being is complex, but we have become so rudimentary in our thinking. We have literally become people who are being zapped. That's exactly what the lady was saying in the book, Zapped, because we are now living in that pollution. So look what the corporation is doing to the human being. They give you the nice computers, the beautiful phones, so they give you all of the chemicals on it, so as soon as you touch it, if you don't wash your hands, you will ingest it into your system. They're introducing hundreds of chemicals every month. And our agencies, even in North America, which is supposed to be stringent, you know, how many chemicals can they look after before, you know, a few pass and into our system, as what happened with the plastics. So the human being is literally being manipulated. There's a book called Listening Below the Noise. And she made a point. Her name is Annie LeClaire. She actually kept silence for 19 years every Monday of the beginning of the month or the end of the month, something like that. And she had many observations. I'm not going to delve into that at this point, but she said something that was very poignant, something that has worth. She said, we manufacture counterfeit necessities. We manufacture counterfeit necessities. I can't talk to my child. I can't talk to my wife. I can't talk to my father. I can't talk to my mother, because we are manufacturing counterfeit necessities. I need that. I need this. I need to be here. I need to be here. All of these scheduling, we're driving ourselves into the ground. And therefore, the psychologists, they call us, we are human doings, not human beings. See, because the only thing is to do, and not is to be, because human beings are not supposed to be like that. Thomas Merton, he made a quote. He said that the murderous din of our materialism. Murderous din of our materialism. So when you have this idea of this murderous, idea that we are having this materialistic avarice for all what we can get, we are now in a position of not understanding why are we living the way we are living. That is the problem. So I think we need to go much further, and to get away from this murderous din, this deafening sound that we have, this materialistic prowess that we think the more we have, the more we need to get, and just killing ourselves. In 1959, John Stuart Mill said the human nature is not a machine to be built after a model and set to do exactly the work of what is prescribed for. But a tree which actually requires to grow, this is in 1859. A tree which requires it to grow and develop itself on all sides according to the inward forces which make it a living thing, a person whose desires and impulses are its own. So that is a human being. Allah described in the Holy Quran, God Almighty stated that, a goodly word is like a goodly tree. And its branches reach the heavens. So it's very important here that a human being is not like a machine, and this is exactly what the corporation is giving. Look at what it's doing to children. How many times that in the last decade even they had to take off things, that the toys were laced with lead, and lead is causing cancers and brain defects and all the other kinds of things that we still don't know what lead really causes till this point, although it's horrific things. But really the long-term effect of what it does to the child and what it does to the human being is really something treacherous. And we allow it to go on because Walmart wants to sell its lunch pack for $2.99, and which has made it for like 5 cents in China on egregious labor standards. And look what's happening to the planet itself. So again, the corporation is in all spheres destroying it. So what I want to say here is that as Muslims, we need to also start looking at that not every single thing we need to buy from corporations. Not every single thing we need to imbibe from them. Yes, sometimes now we can't because we live in this age. Sometimes you have to stop off at Walmart to get an oil change. Now what you can do, I'm not saying, cut everything, but at least start buying local. Go buy from Mr. Baxter the milk. Go buy from Mrs. Smith the apples. Go buy things that are in season. Go to the Saturday market and get things. And your tomatoes do not have to look as red and rosy and waxed as what they're shown on television. You really don't have to do that. And therefore, you have to start now understanding what the role of the corporation is in your life. And you have to cut some of those things out if you're going to live a healthy life. And may God forbid that you might get sick from all of the things that are in your house. There's a book called The Healthy Home, and it states in there that said the first defense to all of these chemicals is your nose. So he said, train and trust your nose. You see, I have a big one right here. So you have to train and trust your nose. Fragrance used to be natural before, but now it's unnatural. Just like when they go in to see how the fries is supposed to smell, how the milkshake is supposed to smell, it's all dealing with fragrance. And therefore, when they wrote the book on McDonald's and they had that documentary where the guy went into an eating binge for 30 days and became sick and almost became diabetic to show what the food can do. The fragrance industry itself, using all of these chemicals, they keep saying chemicals are not proven to be toxic. But any human being can come. You don't have to be a scientist to know that chemicals are toxic to the system. What happened is that girl in California, she just did a small experiment. She took a cotton ball and she put a live cricket. I wouldn't do that because I don't like to hurt anything that's live. She put a live cricket in the glass or a petri dish and covered it with plastic and a rubber band. And she put out all of these colognes, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, Polo, all of them, with a live cricket and timed to see how long it would take for the cricket to croak. And she found that the one who actually won the prize was Calvin Klein. The cricket was dead in 84 seconds. And this you'll find in the book called The Healthy Home. And many other things about your bed sheets and all of those things. Again, corporations are giving you that. You don't need to smell like mountain fresh unless if you're living in the mountains. You can't be living in the heart of Toronto and smelling mountain fresh. You're not in the mountains. So obviously they're giving you something synthetic to make you sick. So this is how the corporation actually permeates your life, and it destroys every fiber of your being and then leaves you helpless. There's no competition. The small guy is finished. The small girl is finished. Every mom and pop store is gone. And all what we have to do is to have and be beholden to this big entity. So we need to also protect ourselves as human beings. So if you're watching this video, please go and buy from the small store, pay a few dollars extra, no problem. And if you're on hard in terms of cash and so on and so forth, find out, be a person of ingenuity. Get there and start planting things and do things that will benefit us, the society as a whole. Inshallah, in the second part, we will start to see how corporations have this social media, and ultimately it becomes the reality show of the century. Stay tuned, that we're going to deal with this monster, and we have something to say from the Islamic point of view. And this is how we should move forward with understanding, but with also knowing that you can actually make a difference, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace be unto you.